You're listening to the Chad Hasty Show on demand. Good for you. Now download the KFYO app and listen live weekday afternoons, 5 to 7 p.m. Central.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Good evening, Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Dallas, Fort Worth, Midland, Odessa, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening. Welcome in to the Chad Hasty Show. Glad to have you with us today on this Open Line Friday. Any topic that you would like to get into, we finally made it. Congratulations. Is it just me, or did this week go by really quickly? Maybe not for Nick, who may or may not have, air conditioning when he gets home today. Maybe. We'll see. We'll check in here in just a second to see if he has any update yet on his AC problems that is going on now for about a month. But it just seems like this week has flown by, maybe unless you're Joe Biden and you're just holding on. You're desperately holding on until you just can't hold on any longer. The reports are that Biden he still hasn't decided yet, He's holding on. He doesn't want to let go of power, but there are just Democrats surrounding him that want him to go. We'll get into a little bit of that today on the program. How about last night's convention? Woo. How about the RNC last night? Did you watch? Did you see Trump's speech? What did you think? It was a long speech. Trump went off the script several times and spoke for about an hour and 21 minutes. Which, again, very long speech that he gave at the convention. But again, I thought it was a very good speech, especially at the very beginning of his speech. I thought the first half hour or so was very, very good. And then, of course, you had Kid Rock. The funniest thing about the convention last night, you had Hulk Hogan, who was that's what you want. When Hulk Hogan gets up there, he's ripping off his shirt, showing his Trump Vance shirt that he had on underneath. Oh, yeah, brother. You got everything you wanted with Hulk Hogan. What a true entertainer with Hulk Hogan. And then you had Kid Rock come out there. And my favorite part of Kid Rock were the people in their 60s and 70s, their 80s, dressed up in their suits and ties, sort of dancing to Kid Rock, but not exactly knowing what was happening. Yeah, on Fox, after Kid Rock was on stage, it had Brent Hume who was like, well, it's a different party than it was a few years ago. And you had Brett Barry asking, oh, you think you'd ever see this? And he was like, at a Republican convention? No, not at a Republican convention. Democrat? Yeah. The Democrats, they're going to get all the drag queens out there. It'll be quite a show during the Democrat convention. Meanwhile, we had Hulk Hogan showing up. and just having a good time. It was a fun convention. It just, people were having a great time during the convention and on the final day. And then Dana White did a great job introducing Trump. And you could tell Trump was a little mellow. He was a little bit mellow in his speech. The folks on CNN were savaging Trump afterwards, saying that, oh, this isn't a different Trump. This is still the mean old Trump. He made fun of Nancy Pelosi. Well, what's he supposed to do? He's going to talk about the differences that he has with the Democrats. He's going to talk about the differences in policy that he has. He's still going to be Trump, but he was a little bit of a mellow Trump up on stage. He talked about wanting to unite the country, much more than what Joe has been saying the last week or so. So we'll get into this. Want to know your thoughts if you watched any part of last night's convention. How much of it did you watch any of it at all? How many of you out there just didn't even watch? That's what I want to know. How many of you out there just, whatever, we knew what was going to happen, and you're fans of Trump, you're going to vote for Trump, but you're not going to waste your time watching it at 9 p.m. You have better things to do. Maybe you want to be in bed by 9:30. You can text in, let us know your thoughts, 806-680-2790. We've got a few local stories that we'll be getting into as well during the show today, and we've got a couple of running topics that we want to hear from you on. This weekend, the movie Twisters comes out, and we've got a couple of stories on the best disaster movies. So we ask you this: your favorite disaster movies, what are they? It can be more than one. It can be more than one or two disaster flicks that you really, really enjoy. It doesn't now remember, it doesn't have to be a good movie. It just has to be a good disaster movie. And there are disaster movies that I love. My wife absolutely hates, and she doesn't understand why I like them. But they're just basically anytime California gets wrecked, I'm there. I'm watching. What if it's a tsunami hitting California, if it's an ice age hitting California, if it's an earthquake hitting California, volcanoes hitting California, tornadoes with sharks in them, I'm watching. If it's destroying the East Coast or the West Coast, damn right, I'm watching. You throw The Rock in there, oh yeah, you better believe I'm going to be watching that show. Absolutely. So your favorite disaster films, you can send those in on the text line, 806-680-2790. We'll have some other questions for you as we pepper those in throughout the show today. You can send in your thoughts on the text line, 806-680-2790. And the first voice you hear from when you dial in at 1-800-687-0790. That's 1-800-687-0790. When you call in Nick, the first voice you hear from when you dial in today. Nick, you got the sweater on? Is that a new sweater?
No.
No, it's not. Okay.
Sweater.
Maybe it's just I'm not used to the dark black sweater that you're wearing today.
It's see, I mix up what I wear under the sweater every once in a while. And so today I went with the blue dress shirt. Is that what you call it?
Sure.
Okay. A blue dress shirt that I buttoned.
Is it a polo shirt?
No, it's a button. I don't know the lingo of clothes.
Yeah, you have no idea. You've got a button shirt. Okay.
It's a shirt. It's got buttons, but it's blue, and then I got a black sweater.
Yeah.
Always a classic look. But I'm hoping I won't have to keep. Let me rephrase that. I'm hoping I can take my sweater off right when I get home. I am told that my AC was fixed today. I can't confirm that. I haven't been home since I got the news, but I'm a little leery about it because this is the third repairman to take a look at the AC unit, and probably about the fifth time in total that it's been looked at, and there's a different reason every time. And so this guy today, great guy, very friendly. He mentioned some gizmo or something within the unit that he's going to check and see if it's blocked. And he said, "Oh yeah, it was just all I did was just clean that part out and put it back in, and you should be good now."
Yeah.
And 5 minutes passed from when he got there, and then when he was all done. So I don't know. I have no idea. He says it so nonchalantly, like it was just, press a button and you're good.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But you have not been home to check and see.
Correct. No, so nobody's been home since it's been quote unquote fixed. So we'll see.
See, this is a difference because if they would have called, I would have been, hey, let me go check. Let me go see.
Just leave work.
Absolutely.
Let me just go home for
Absolutely.
2 minutes and
Absolutely,
check.
I would have. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That is a difference. I think
Everyone's gone now. Everyone was gone 3 hours ago, Nick.
That's true.
This building was empty when I pulled it. I mean, hours ago when I got here, the parking lot was empty. Yeah. So not only this floor, but
all the others.
Pretty much the entire building had been evacuated by early afternoon.
Well,
nobody works on Fridays anymore. I'm convinced. I drive by all the restaurants in town. They're packed at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Everyone's doing like early happy hour, and I'm wondering who's working.
Nobody.
We are
right. Lucky us.
I mean, this is barely working, but I mean, this. We're sort of working. We're doing something.
We're here.
Yeah,
we're here. I mean, that's pretty good.
But I mean, you drive. I guarantee you, if you about 2 hours ago, if you were to drive around the hub city here, bars would be full, restaurants would be full, and people would be having a good time. It's just crazy.
I completely forgot to add this. Probably the best thing that happened while the repair guy was looking. So he texted me after, and he said the greatest catchphrase any HVAC repairman can say. You know what he said? He said, "All right, it's all fixed. Stay cool."
Oh man!
And then left it at that.
Stay cool.
Stay cool.
Stay
what
cool.
What an
like
awesome
that.
HVAC related thematic catchphrase. So he's immediately one of the coolest people that I met this week, and I'm hoping that he stays that way in my mind when I go home, and it truly is fixed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Will I stay cool?
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll find out this weekend if you indeed stay cool. 806-680-2790. Mitchell in Abilene says, "Hey, I'm 67. I regularly rock out to Kid Rock." Okay, I'm going to back off the 60s. There were some 70s and 80-year-olds in the crowd last night who were not Jim. They were a little bit confused as to who is this guy on the stage? And why is he yelling at me to put my fist in the air? What's happening? Who is this guy? Who is this kid? Who is this Mr. Rock who is on the stage yelling at me? Because usually at the Republican convention, you've got country music. You got country music normally at the Republican convention. Sometimes bad country music happening at the Republican. I'm just being honest. Just being honest here. You had Lee Greenwood. You had some great music that I heard during the different breaks that they had at the RNC, and then you had Kid Rock, who, let me tell you, he was firing people up, and there was some good dancing going on inside the arena. That's for sure. 1-800-687-0790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and much more. Your favorite disaster movies. Oh, there's some good ones coming in. Can the movie be ultra cheesy? Yes. I did say movies including, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson count. So yes, extra cheese does work. We'll be right back.
the titan of Texas talk radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at kfyo.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, an amazing week at the RNC and a miracle for those of us who are big Trump supporters in just the last week. Now we're going to turn our sights to the campaign, state by state, district by district. What is it looking like right now, and where do the Democrats fall in all of this? We'll talk about it on Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Monday morning at 11.
All right, back on the Chad HD Show. All right, we ask you your favorite disaster movies. And, in honor of the movie Twisters coming out this weekend, which is not really a remake of Twister, nor is it it's not really, like Twisters 2. It's just kind of a Twisters movie, which, I'll probably see it because it's got tornadoes and things blowing up, and, I'll probably watch it. Armageddon was a good disaster movie. That's from a texture weighing in. Deep Impact, that was good. Deep Impact was good. The Democrat convention in a few weeks. That's not a movie. That's real life, though. But it will be a dumpster fire, I do predict. Eight 806-680-2790. Another texture weighing in. This is Gary from Baxter County, Arkansas. I saw a New York Post article that 2 million hunters and gun owners are not registered to vote. I think they need to be called out to register. Well, I haven't seen that. I'll have to look that up. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. There are a lot of people who don't vote for whatever reason. They don't vote. Ben Runkles in Bovina has weighed in. Dear Chad, best disaster movie is the original Poseidon Adventure in 1972. Case closed. See, on the USA Today list, that made, I think it was definitely top 10 that it made. Let's see. Gene Hackman's best work until Bat 21. You're welcome. Your listeners with chin hair and gravel in their belly will understand. Second best disaster movie, Steve Massengill's run for mayor in Lubbock. That from Ben Runkles in Bovina. And then he says Post is still a porta potty of a town. Just taking a shot at Post. And I don't know why. But again, that's Ben Runkles. He's always very upset. It just seems like we always catch him on a bad day. Nick, don't you think every day's a bad day for Ben Runkles? Like he just wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm surprised he didn't say anything about you in this text. Let's see. Tate from Lawton says, I am legend. Another text. Sure, that's why you need a Nest controller thermostat. You could see the house was cooling down. I say just go home. See what's happening. Nick doesn't live that far away. Let's see, some more movies coming in. Sharknado. We will accept Sharknado. We will accept, even though that was made for TV, we will accept Sharknado. Mitchell and Abilene also says Sharknado was so bad it was good. Would you consider Tremors to be a disaster movie, or is it just another monster movie? Either way, I like the Tremors movies. I think we can accept it. There's some crossover on some of the movies that are disaster films. They can kind of cross over into other genres. Truly disturbing disaster movie, The Day After. That from another texter. When we come back, your phone calls, your text. We'll get into some news of the day. Kamala Harris was on a Democrat donor call. Seems like it didn't go too well. We'll be right back on the Chad Hasty Show.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Oh, I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. You're listening to The Chad Hasty Show.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. You can send in your thoughts on the text line 806-680-2790. You're taking your favorite disaster movies. You can send those in. We'll get to got a couple of articles on the best disaster movies of all time. We'll get to those in the next hour. This is out of the New York Times. Call with Harris struggles to reassure major Democrat donors. Vice President Kamala Harris tried to buck up the Democrat Party's biggest donors on Friday, telling about 300 of them that there is very little to worry about in President Biden's campaign. Harris spoke to the group at a time of extraordinary turmoil among Democrats, with many hoping she'll replace Biden as the party's nominee. But several listeners said they found the meeting overall to be of little value and even at times condescending. I'm telling you right now, while the New York Times may say that a lot of people want Kamala Harris to be on top of the ticket, I don't really think that's true. Now, those who want to play the race card and only want her on top of the ticket because of her race, they may want to see her there. But even before last week, not that many people were talking about Kamala Harris leading the ticket. They wanted somebody else. And so, Kamala Harris coming across as condescending. Guess what? Go back to when she ran for president. In her failed primary, people didn't like her. They didn't like how she came across. They didn't like how odd she was. They didn't like how she sounded, as though she was being condescending when she spoke. So this is not surprising. Harris, of course, in a delicate position, says the New York Times. She must demonstrate loyalty to her boss, also be prepared to jump in immediately to the top of the Democrat ticket if Biden were to withdraw. Harris told the donors, I will start by sharing something with all of you. Something I believe in my heart of hearts. It's something I feel strongly you should all hear and take with you when you leave and tell your friends we're going to win this election. Now, she didn't take any questions. She didn't get into any details. She just wanted to assure people they're going to win. Now, Joe Biden has not dropped out. Joe Biden, in fact, there are numerous stories out today that Joe Biden doesn't want to go anywhere and that Joe Biden's holding on basically for dear life. Campaign chair says that Biden is both more committed than ever to the presidential race and asking for input. Biden's top campaign advisors both weighed in on Friday, according to Fox News, to comment on widespread speculation surrounding the race. The first clarification came from Jen O'Malley Dillon, who left no room for question during an interview with MSNBC's Morning Joe. Quote, the president is in this race, O'Malley told the host. You've heard him say that time and time again. I think we saw that on display last night, exactly why Donald Trump is not going to offer anything new to the American people. He's the same person that he was in 2020. He's the same person he was at the debate. O'Malley Dillon made clear there was no question that Biden is committed, more committed than ever, to beating Donald Trump. Quote, we believe this campaign, we are built for the close election that we are in, and we see a path forward. The president's the leader of our campaign and the country, and he's clearly, in our impression, what we've built, in our engagement with voters, he's the best person to take on Donald Trump and to prosecute that case that presents his vision versus what we saw last night. Now, of course, this has led for more and more Democrats to come out. At least 8 congressional Democrats today have come out and urged Joe Biden to step aside and to leave the race. Just minutes ago, Senator Sherrod Brown called on Biden to drop out of the race. So we're going to see probably a lot more of this over the weekend. And you're going to hear from a lot more Democrats who will come out and just, they're going to pummel Biden until they believe he's done and that he's going to leave the race. More and more Democrats will come out against him. And he's going to hold on. He is not a statesman. I mean, this is a guy who doesn't have it all together. He should not be, forget about a campaign. This guy shouldn't be in the Oval Office. This guy should not be in the Oval Office. He is a danger to the country. Now, no Democrat is out there saying that. They're saying that he's fine enough to be president right now, but that he needs to drop out. And I think the first Democrat who comes out and says, you know what, he needs to resign the office of the presidency, that's the first Democrat that's going to be actually slightly honest with the American people. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Let's go to the phones. Before we take the break, Richard, what's going on?
Hey, Chad, happy Friday.
To you as well.
On your running topic for the movie,
Yes.
I'm going to throw out there the Poseidon Adventure.
There you go. Let's get another vote. Yeah, we've got Elizabeth weighed in with the Poseidon Adventure. We had another texter saying the same. So I think we're up to 4 on the Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah, it was a goodie. And while I was sitting online here, I was thinking, I wonder how many people developed a fear of flying because of all of the airport movies that there were in the 70s. It's like every year they came out with a new one.
Yeah, that, by the way, the original one did make the list for USA Today. There's probably a few people who did.
Yeah. All right, so switching over to the politics.
Yes.
Until the Democrat convention, I think that President Trump, he should not say Biden's name at all. He should be concentrating on the media and all of the popular name Democrats, showing clips of how they have been supporting Biden and propping him up for 3, 4, 5 years, and say, these are the people that were saying he is a good president, he's on top of his game.
Yeah.
And just showing up the hypocrisy. And then if Biden is the nominee after the convention, go ahead and keep going like that. And then, like the people that are running for Senate, and for the people running for congressional seats, if their opponent is out there where he has supported Biden, I would go ahead. I would. All my commercials against that other person would be about just how much he was supporting Biden.
Yeah.
Because with all of the polling showing how many people do not think Biden is competent to hold the office, show them that these people have been lying to the voters.
Every Democrat is guilty. Every Democrat has known how bad Joe Biden has been, how the mental decline has been within the last, I'd say since the beginning, but especially the last 2 to 3 years now. It's been, sharpened, a very sharp decline, and they've all known it. They've all been in the same room with the guy, and so they're liars. They perpetrated a fraud on the American people, and that is something that Republicans need to remind voters about across the nation.
And hold their feet to the fire, telling them, if you are pressuring him to drop out of the campaign, are you also suggesting to him that he needs to resign the office now?
Yeah, which none of them have.
I mean, if he's not competent to run in the campaign, he's definitely not competent to hold the office.
Yeah, no, you're right, Richard. Thank you very much. We gotta get moving. Appreciate you being out there. Have a great weekend, Richard. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and more.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, an amazing week at the RNC and a miracle for those of us who are big Trump supporters in just the last week. Now we're going to turn our sights to the campaign, state by state, district by district. What is it looking like right now, and where do the Democrats fall in all of this? We'll talk about it on Clay and Buck.
Play Travis and Buck Sexton, Monday morning at 11.
When I go round in circles, when they fly high like a bird up in the sky.
All right.
When I go round in circles.
When we come back at the top of the hour, we'll have a interview with our friends over at Texacare. Looking forward to that conversation. I introduce some new sponsors of ours here on the program. You can send in your thoughts on the text line at 806-680-2790. Some text messages coming in day after tomorrow. And from Don in Lubbock, one of the big disaster movies that they like. Gordo, let's see. Favorite disaster movie was the documentary about Las Vegas called The Hangover. Yeah, okay, yeah, that was a documentary. Yeah, we can go with that. That's good. Let's see. The original Earthquake with Charlton Heston from Mark in California. And sorry, Mark, I do enjoy seeing your state just pummeled in every disaster film that's out there. I apologize. I don't know what it is. New York probably comes in second in disaster movies. It's obviously it's up there, but it seems like California is just always getting destroyed in the disaster movies. Let's see, another texture, Idiocracy. Nick, would you count that as a disaster movie? I guess we can go there. We can loosen it a little bit. Let's see. Have The Day After. Another text. Joe is a stubborn old cop and spiteful in his prime. I think the Dems are going to cause him to dig in his heels and help them hurt him. Quite a good situation for the right for once. Yeah. I mean, listen, Joe is dug in. Jill is dug in. I don't know if Joe actually knows. I mean, really. I don't know if he actually knows if he's dug in or not. He may just be an angry old man at this point, not knowing where exactly he's at. It's his inner circle. It's his family that doesn't want him to go. And why would they? They've gotten rich off of him being in office. Why would you want the gravy train to end? Why, if you're his family, and you've known for a while that he's been on the downslope, you've known this, but you don't care because you've been personally enriched. Life has been great. If you're Hunter, you definitely don't want Daddy to go anywhere because he's the only one who can save you. So they really, for selfish reasons, they do not want him to go. And for selfish reasons, Joe doesn't want to go if he actually has the knowledge of where he's at right now. Doug from Wolfworth weighed in. Red Dawn. We had a couple of Red Dawns that have come in. Very good, Doug. 806-680-2790. We'll also have another running topic for you in the next hour as we the Sunday is National Ice Cream Day. Yeah, so we may look at that, and then Nick may have a final question of the week for you that he has been concentrating on for the entire week, testing it out, doing different groups just to make sure the question is a good one. Let's see, Mark weighing back in. Don't apologize. We're the American Tokyo. That's true. That is true. Could you throw in the Godzilla movies? I mean, we have opened them up to monster movies. The Godzilla movies, as far as disaster goes, that's pretty good. Let me throw this one out there. Independence Day. It's a pretty good disaster movie. A lot of places, a lot of cities are destroyed. A lot of A lot of big cities are destroyed by those mean aliens. So that's got to be up there on your list. We will get to. We've got at least one or two lists that we'll look over in the next hour of the top disaster movies in honor of the movie Twisters coming out this weekend. And I would put the movie Twister up on my list. Not very high up on my list, but it would be there. Yeah, another Poseidon, yeah. That one's getting a lot. Nick, have you seen? No. You already knew what I was going to ask. San Andreas with The Rock. Oh, let me tell you. It's great. When The Rock is in a disaster film, it's fantastic. You just know. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media. Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is The Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
All right, welcome back to the second hour of the Chad Hasty Show. Whether you're listening to us in Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, or anywhere else around the great state of Texas and beyond, we welcome you into the program today. You can text in, as always, at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. And as always, you can follow along on social media on the X at Chad Hasty Radio. And don't forget, you can download the podcast as well. Anywhere you get your podcast from, just search for the Chad Hasty Show, subscribe, follow, and about 30 minutes to an hour after the show ends, you'll get the podcast for the day. One of our great new sponsors here on the program is Texicare, and joining us to discuss Texicare and tell you all about it, we've got Paul Schlad with the folks over at Texicare. Paul, welcome to the program. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you and your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell folks, I guess, you know, they've been, especially in the Lubbock area, they've been hearing me talk about Texicare, and this is really aimed at small business owners who are out there. And y'all really spend a lot of time talking to small business owners and really developing Texicare. Tell us about that process and just about Texicare overall.
Yeah, that's right. I think one of the important things is we're a different kind of company. We were built by Texans for Texans. And Texicare is wholly owned by Texas Mutual, a name hopefully your listeners know. Texas Mutual has been around for 30 years, taking care of Texas. And Texas Mutual has 78,000 businesses that they insure. The vast majority of them are small businesses. We already understood small businesses. And in 2021, Representative James Frank from Wichita Falls introduced a bill that passed that invited Texas Mutual to expand its mandate and its mission to try to provide health coverage options for businesses in Texas. So with that, push, we were really happy to launch Texicare. And so we understand a lot about small businesses, and we know that they struggle. The small businesses are the backbone of the Texas economy. Millions of Texans are employed by them, and yet 68% of them can't get health insurance to cover their employees. And that's partly cost, and partly it's a lack of competition. So our goal is to come into these markets where there isn't enough competition and provide a new option. So that's what we're doing in West Texas.
Yeah, and I really think people will be very impressed with, obviously some of the great benefits. And one of those great benefits, I think, and I've heard from others who are really impressed with it, are about the some of the office visits that people can get. Tell us about that.
Yeah, and I mean, your listeners know, like, sometimes you have insurance and it doesn't feel like you have insurance.
Yeah.
You have coverage, but it doesn't feel like it because of copays, because of deductibles. All of that adds up, and you have to choose between gas and groceries sometimes and healthcare. And so we're trying to address that problem. We want health plans that people will use. And so in every essential care plan that we offer, every member gets 4 $0 primary care visits, 4 $0 behavioral health visits, 4 $0 physical therapy visits a year, right? And so it's this access to care without having that impediment of trying to figure out how you're going to pay for it.
What about virtual care? Because I know that's something that during the COVID years, a lot of people were focused on virtual care. Texas Tech has been kind of on the forefront of some of this virtual care as well. Is that something that's taken into account by Texacare?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really important part of all of our offerings. And particularly it's because we want to serve rural Texas, and sometimes access to care is really a problem. There's not as many doctors out there in hospitals as there used to be. So our virtual care offering, you get on your phone and you start your chat, and within 60 seconds, you are online with an actual doctor, right? And that's 24/7. And it starts as chat, and that's because we're not always on broadband. We don't always have access to good Wi-Fi. So wherever you are in Texas, if you have a signal, you can chat with a live doctor and get care.
That's great. And so we're talking about Texacare here on the Chad Hasty Show. For those who are small business owners out there, if they are interested in learning more about this, making a switch to Texacare, how do they go about that process? What do they need to do?
Well, it's real easy. I mean, we sell through agents, so, you all have relationships with your agents. Reach out to your agent. They can connect you with Texacare. But if you want more direct information, go to Texacare.com, and there's whole pages built out for small business owners so they can understand how these offerings can work for them.
And you spoke earlier about the deep roots that this has in Texas. Why do you think that's so important for other Texans to know about and to find out about when it comes to the roots that you guys have?
Well, if people know Texas Mutual, they know that's a brand you can trust, and it's about stability. They're going to be here this year. They're going to be here in a decade, and we're trying to build Texacare the same way, with a mission as the foundation, being here for Texas to support Texans. This is not a venture capital money play where we're just going to try to get a quick buck and then sell the company. We're going to be here for the long term, and we're going to try to invest in the small businesses of Texas. Yeah,
and I know you yourself, you're based here in Texas as well. In fact, there in our great Wichita Falls area. We appreciate you giving us a call today, and encourage folks to go to Texacare Texas. Great new sponsors of the program, great friends of ours. Obviously, they're tied in with Texas Mutual. They've been great friends of ours as well here on the program. So again, if you're a small business owner, this is really something. And Paul, if you will, when people hear the term small business owner, what size business, people are growing their businesses. Who is this really designed for? The small business, when it comes to small business, yes, but is there a certain amount of employees that a business must have or can't go above?
It's a great question. We know the need is most acute in that kind of 2 to 50 employee space, and so that's really what we've built out our plans for, but we will write plans for people over 50 as well.
Great. Fantastic. Texacare Texas. You can go online at Texacare.com. Paul, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it, and enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, you too, Chad. Thanks so much.
Thank you. All right. Visit Texacare.com. That's Texacare.com. They're great friends of the program, and they're great new sponsors of the show as well. And for you small business owners out there, this is something that you can really get involved in. For employees, I think they're really going to enjoy the plans that Texacare can offer for you and your business, and for their families as well. You can send in your thoughts on the text line at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Let's see. We were asking you before the in the last hour, before the top of the hour break, your favorite disaster movies, and we've had a lot of folks weighing in with that. One texter just said the Planet of the Apes franchise pretty notable for disastrous scenarios. Ruckus weighing in. Somebody has a crush on The Rock. I don't know if that meant him or if he was talking about somebody else. I'm not sure what he meant there. Fell Safe, another texter weighing in with Locke in New York, or hello from Locke, New York. I'm sure the Democrat convention will be a total snooze. There will be nothing for them to be excited about. The guest speakers will know it's a lost cause. It'll show. It can go one of really two ways. If Joe stays in the race, yes, it's going to be boring. If Joe stays in the race, it's going to be boring. If he doesn't stay in and it goes to an open convention, then it'll be pretty interesting, and especially for us political nerds. It'll be very interesting at that point, only to see how it plays out. There's a lot of people who can't remember an open convention. The last one was in 68. So a lot of people can't remember an open convention. And you know, nowadays with social media and just how at each other's throats these candidates are going to be if there's an opening, it's going to be a complete, just absolute complete craziness for the Democrats if they go into an open convention. And you're going to see all these little DEI areas that they built up just completely unravel. Just completely unravel. 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and much more.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at kfyo.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, an amazing week at the RNC and a miracle for those of us who are big Trump supporters in just the last week. Now we're going to turn our sights to the campaign, state by state, district by district. What is it looking like right now, and where do the Democrats fall in all of this? We'll talk about it on Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Monday morning at 11.
The Chad HD Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can send in your thoughts on the text line at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Nancy Pelosi voicing support for an open nomination process if Biden drops out. In a meeting with fellow California Democrats from last week, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi stressed the need for an open process to choose the party's next nominee if Joe Biden decides to step aside. In an effort to avoid the appearance of a Kamala Harris coronation. Now, wait a minute. I thought that Kamala Harris is ready to be president of the United States. That's what we hear from Joe Biden. He selected her to be somebody who would be ready on day number one if he were to die, to be able to step in and be president. Why should she not be just handed the keys? Oh, that's right. That's right. The Democrats don't like Kamala Harris either. And now Nancy Pelosi, California Democrat, says, well, we don't want to hand it to Kamala. We don't want to just hand it over to Kamala Harris. The discussion in the meeting of the California delegation included 40 members that took place in the Capitol on July 10th, at least partly focused on the complicated next steps for the Democrat Party if Biden did indeed leave the ticket. Pelosi was one of several California Democrats who stressed that an uncompetitive process would turn off voters, according to 4 people. The concern wasn't about Harris's strengths as a candidate. In fact, several people made clear that Harris needed to be the next pick, but instead centered on worries that the party bosses were choosing the president rather than the party base. They still are. They're not going with the will of the people. The will of the people was Joe Biden. The will of the Democrat voters. They had a primary. Now, they lied to the voters, but they will, don't doubt for a minute, they will be selecting the Democrat nominee. The quote-unquote party bosses will absolutely be selecting the nominee. The average person will have no say in it whatsoever. Hell, even the delegates will barely have a say in it. They just think they do. This is how the Democrat Party is run. And this is why I tell you, we can be very, very excited from what we saw with the RNC. Very excited. We can look at all the polling numbers, and they look fantastic right now for Donald Trump. These people will stop at nothing to win. Don't doubt it for a second. They will stop at nothing to win. I heard earlier today that, I can't remember which Democrat it was. There's somebody on Fox News. And they said, well, we think the Democrats might just be throwing in the towel on this election. They are not. I've heard that from a few places, that maybe the Democrats are just okay losing this election. Does anyone really believe that? You shouldn't. These people crave power. That's all they care about, is having power. They don't care about the will of the voter. They don't care about the will of the American people. They don't care about telling the American people whether the commander-in-chief is actually competent or not. They don't care about that. They will lie about Donald Trump. They will lie about Brett Kavanaugh. They will lie about parents who show up to PTA meetings. They will lie about all of that in order to gain power. So don't think for a second this is just going to be a cakewalk and it's going to be easy for Trump to win. If they're lying about Trump for 8 years, if they're lying about parents showing up to PTA meetings, if they lie about the competency of the current commander-in-chief, they will absolutely do anything to win an election. They have no loyalty at all to Joe Biden. None of them. Not even Barack Obama. Supposedly Joe Biden's best friend. He has no loyalty to Joe. He doesn't care about Joe. It's about winning the next election, and that's what they want to do. And the media is right there with them. The media knows the game. They know exactly what's going on. The media last night, they sunk their teeth in the Trump. AOC last night did about a 2-hour video. I didn't watch it, but I did get some highlights. She called Trump Hitler. She was saying that Trump was Adolf Hitler. And that the party elites in the Democrat Party, I'll give her this. She was right about this, that the Democrat elites in the party are trying to get rid of Joe. She's right on that. But they will stop at nothing to win and gain power. They screwed Bernie Sanders over because they wanted Hillary to be president, and they will absolutely select whoever runs against Trump eventually, unless Joe somehow is able to hang on to this thing until August 19th. But you look at, one of the headlines today on Politico. And it has the Dems to Biden, time's up, get out. They have a running counter going. 35 Democrats in Congress publicly calling for Biden to drop out. The California Planned Parenthood head and Biden delegate promoting Harris for president. One of the latest stories, Biden's national security aides say that he is up to the job. Well, they have to say that. They're not going to come out. I love these articles. Oh, well, his aides and generals are saying that he's up to the job. They're not going to come out right now and say that that he's got no clue as to what's happening. Oh, listen, Jim and Lubbock weighing in about Hillary Clinton. Yeah, Hillary would do anything right. You don't let Hillary anywhere near Joe Biden at this moment. Can't trust her. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and much more on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. Today's markets from the Texas Department of Ag.
Well, howdy, neighbors. Texas feeder cattle auction reporting prices steady to $4 higher. Cattle futures, however, were mixed. August live cattle futures up 85 cents to close at 183.10, and August feeder cattle futures down 63, close at 255.60. July cotton futures were down, closing at 69.98. July wheat futures up 7 cents to close at 5.70 a bushel. July corn down a penny to close at 3.90, and July soybean futures down a penny, closing at $10.97 a bushel. July soybean meal futures down 40 cents, closed at $336.80 per ton. July Class 3 milk futures down 19 cents, closed at $19.97 a hundred. August crude oil futures down to $2 to trade at $80.29 a barrel. And the Dow Jones is down 377 points, closing at 40,287. And that's a market roundup from the Texas Department of Agriculture. I'm your commissioner, Sid Miller. And remember, friends, Texas agriculture matters. Sold.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. You're listening to The Chad Hasty Show.
All right. Back on The Chad Hasty Show. Well, one texter saying, I bet the DNC bitterly regrets kicking Tulsi and RFK Jr. now. They probably seem like fantastic options at this point. I'll tell you who's happy Tulsi's not around right now. It's Kamala Harris. Another texter, do you think Hillary could displace Kamala at the Democrat convention? Interesting thought. Hillary is way more articulate than Kamala. I think Hillary would love to. I think Hillary would love to do it. I'm sure she still has the Rolodex, the apparatus to put together a campaign. I'm not sure how enthusiastic Democrat voters would be about Hillary Clinton, but I'm sure she would love it. And I'm sure there's part of Hillary that is thinking about it. And I'm sure there's part of Hillary that hopes the Democrats will come to her begging her to get in. That Gavin Newsom is too far to the left. Gretchen is too far to the left. Kamala Harris is a disaster and also very far to the left. And that here's the scenario for Hillary. If the Democrat bosses think that the other candidates are just too far to the left to get elected in this political atmosphere that we have right now, then I think Hillary's hoping they would come to her and go, Hillary, please run again. Now, why you would want to run a two-time loser for the White House, why you would want to run her again, I don't know. Again, the Democrat Party has really changed. And that's why to the texter who said in about RFK Jr., RFK Jr. wouldn't get the nomination. Tulsi probably would not get the nomination. If the Democrat voters could choose anyone, they want someone far to the left and someone who is younger. That's what they want. This is not a pushback on Biden's policies. This is not a pushback against liberal wokeness. They're fine with that. They have no problem with that at all. Nobody is stating that the Biden policies are why he should abandon the race, or that the liberal wokeness that is out there is why he needs to abandon the race. It's just because of his mind. He needs to go. That's what they're saying. So they want to find somebody who is a leftist. They want to find someone who is further to the left than a Hillary Clinton. But I think in her mind, what she is hoping is that the party bosses will basically come begging her to run. And I guess it could happen. But I think that's her fantasy more than what we'll actually see in reality. I think the reality is we will see a combination of Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer out of Michigan, and maybe one or two other people who decide to toss their hat into the ring. And you'll see debates, and you'll see the media gushing over these candidates. They will love them. Who knows? Maybe even Pete Buttigieg will jump into the deal. The media is going to love them. They're going to treat them like conquering heroes. The media will only say good things about them. 806-680-2790. Okay. Let's see. We've had some other texts coming on the app chat. We've had some listeners weighing in on some of their favorite movies. Their favorite disaster movies. Excuse me. Resident Evil. A texter says, and Mars Attacks. That from Cindy in Amarillo. Now, this from USA Today. They list the top 20 best disaster movies ever. That's from Brian Truitt at USA Today in honor of the Twisters movie coming out. Number 20, The Day After Tomorrow from 2004. Nick, this is the one with Jake Gyllenhaal that you were bringing up earlier, I think. Number 19, Deep Impact from 1998. Number 18, Twister from 1996. 2012, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, which never saw that one. I don't even think I heard of that one. Deepwater Horizon at number 16. The spoof movie Airplane at number 15, which it's spoofing a disaster film. It's pretty good. Airplane's pretty, I mean, it's, I don't know if you put it as a disaster film, but okay. We'll go with it. We'll run with it. Cloverfield at 14. Never saw that one. You see, Nick saw that one. Okay. The Perfect Storm from the year 2000. The Day After from 1983. Number 11, The Towering Inferno from 1974. The Towering Inferno. (806-680-2790). Melancholia from 2011. I had not even heard about this one. That's number 10. Contagion from 2011. Good movie. Greenland from 2020. That was number 8 on the list with Gerard Butler. Did you see that one, Nick? Greenland? Take Shelter from 2011 with Michael Shannon in it. Number 6, The Poseidon Adventure, which was one of the most mentioned here on the show today. Number 6 from 1972, The Poseidon Adventure. When we come back, we'll give you the top 5. The top 5 disaster movies according to USA Today. Here on the Chad Easty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, an amazing week at the RNC and a miracle for those of us who are big Trump supporters in just the last week. Now we're going to turn our sights to the campaign, state by state, district by district. What is it looking like right now, and where do the Democrats fall in all of this? We'll talk about it on Clay and Buck.
Play Travis and Buck Sexton, Monday morning at 11.
All right, back on the Chad Easty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Text in 806-680-2790. You can call in at 1-800-687-0790. That's what Greg has done. Let's go out to Tennessee. Greg, what's happening?
How are you today?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Man, I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I listen on my phone on the online.
Excellent.
Anyway, I appreciate what you do. Look, I sometimes I'm shocked at how it seems like so many entities in the media don't want to talk about it. I don't know if it's like a fear of sounding like a tinfoil hat guy, but it just seems so obvious that it's ridiculous that Obama's looking for his fourth term. And Michelle is going to come out of the woodworks, whether she wants to or not.
You think
because
so?
Obama's absolutely. It's as obvious as can be that she's the only one that doesn't have a record to run on, therefore the only one without a record to argue against, and she's a shiny object that all the Oprah fans love, and at the very least she'll be a figurehead for them to pull some shenanigans with the next election like they did the last one.
Yeah. You know, I mean, look, I'm not going to say there's no way. I personally don't see Michelle running, but I'm not going to say there's no way. I mean, stranger things have happened in the last few years, and so it's entirely possible. I think Obama has his grip on the Democrat Party no matter what right now.
Absolutely.
And so whether it's Gavin Newsom, whether it's Gretchen, the only person he wouldn't have an iron grip on is Hillary. And so everyone else he would have an iron grip on because they all look up to him and they all want to be the next Obama. So, that may be one of the reasons why, Michelle doesn't have to run because they all want to be like him. And he's got the power.
They tell us that Michelle has said over and over again that she does not want it, but they also told us that the Secret Service guys, there was concern about them being on the slope of that roof last week.
It was very slopey on Saturday. I can't tell you.
I appreciate what you do.
Hey, thank you very much. Have a great day in Tennessee. Thank you, Greg. Let's see. Amarillo Bill weighing in with King Kong as a disaster movie. Again, if we're going to throw Godzilla in there, you got to throw King Kong in there as well. Now, we were getting to the top 5 of the USA Today list here as we wrap it up. And again, some of these I'm going to disagree with. Armageddon at number 5. Is it a disaster movie? I wouldn't put Armageddon in there. Armageddon would not make my top 20. Airport at number 4. Okay, that's good. Number 3, The Birds. Number 2, Independence Day. And number 1, what do you think, Nick? Do you have a guess for number 1 disaster movie? And I'm going to help you out here. It's sort of, I don't know if I would consider it a disaster movie. It was a disaster.
Of a movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was a disaster that happened.
Right.
But I wouldn't consider it, like all of California getting wiped out type of disaster.
I don't know. I mean, with that hint, I'm really bad at remembering. I guess just mainly disaster films. I feel like I've seen a lot of them, but that's the genre of movies where, I mean, first of all, we all know I haven't seen a lot of movies.
That's true.
And when I try to think back,
I bet you've seen this one.
I'm going to say, what is the one I said earlier today? 2012.
Yeah,
I think.
No,
I'll say
that's
that.
not it.
Okay, yeah.
Titanic.
Disaster. Well,
I mean,
that was pretty disastrous.
It was
what
pretty disastrous.
Yeah.
But would I put that in the same genre? Was it a disaster movie or was it a romantic drama movie wrapped up into because if you're going to throw that on there, why not throw Pearl Harbor?
Well, because when you think
had
of
more explosions
that's true.
than Titanic.
When you think of when I think of disaster, I think natural disaster.
Yeah.
I usually think something involving the Earth and some very large scale volcanoes,
yes.
twisters, hurricanes, snowstorms. But I guess
tsunamis.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, if you really want to broaden it, just quote unquote disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that opens up a whole other, section of movies. And yeah, if you're going to put Titanic on there.
Vulture also listed
I don't know
as
what
their
that is.
Vulture.com, which came out with another list.
Okay.
They listed it as number 1 on their list of disaster movies. Towering Inferno, they give number 2. The Birds, number 3. A Night to Remember, number 4. Miracle Mile at number 5. Poseidon Adventure at number 7. Let's see. Airplane, they have at 10. I love that. But yeah, Titanic? Really? Number 1? Again, it was, a lot of people saw it, and it was, at the time, it was fine. I watched it. The Titanic is definitely a disaster shipwreck that I'm interested in, but I don't know if I'd call it a disaster movie. I guess the experts on online say it is, so we've got to go with that. All right, enjoy the rest, Noah. Okay, Doug from Wolfforth weighed in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Who knows what's going to happen this weekend? We may have an entirely new Democrat ticket to talk about coming up on Monday. We'll see what happens. Follow me on social media at Chad HD Radio. On the app chat, Chad, will you be playing the College Football 25 this weekend? Absolutely. Yes, I will be doing that. 100% on the PS5, yes. Can't wait. Have a great weekend. Spend time with those you love and enjoy spending time with. God bless you all. We'll see you back here Monday.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.